Today, Intel's 14th gen CPUs are even worse than we thought. AMD pulled the plug. Threadripper 7000 has a surprise, and Nvidia's going super. Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. First up for today, Intel's 14th gen CPUs have been released. And remember this slide that actually leaked before the announcement? Then come to find out it definitely was real? Well, in my last video, I mentioned that it's probably cherry-picked. Intel even said that they're up to 23% faster in gaming than the competition, referencing to this one game. Well, it looks like that is exactly crap. As you can see from Tom's Hardware's review, AMD's X3D chips are still on top. And actually by a pretty decent margin. Even the much cheaper 7800 X3D beats out Intel's 14900K. Of course, the i9 is significantly faster in more professional workloads, but at least in gaming overall, the X3D parts take the lead. What's wild is that even in multi-threaded benchmarks, AMD's 7950X also takes the lead overall, though keep in mind that it very much depends on the app. Not only that, but quite a few people were ecstatic about Intel keeping the TDP the same. But as usual, their numbers don't really mean much, as the 14900K saw a big jump in power draw, getting well over 300 watts. Basically, Intel's 14th gen is a complete joke. Other than the i7s, they're slightly faster, yet with a ton of power draw, and it's still not better than AMD's offerings. I know it's just a stopgap to 15th gen, but at this point, why even try? But first, a big thanks to this video's sponsor, World of Warships, the best free-to-play PC game that puts you in the captain's seat of your very own warship. From destroyers to submarines and even aircraft carriers, charge into battle with some of history's most iconic ships. Not to mention the fact that there are over 500 ships to choose from and over 40 unique maps with beautiful weather effects. That's all thanks to World of Warships adding new content every month. From new ship classes, in-game nations, cosmetics, to even things like their Godzilla vs. Kong update. And let's not forget how great the graphics look, all while being able to play on just about any modern hardware. Oh, and I forgot to mention that it's even on consoles. So don't wait any longer and download World of Warships by visiting the first link in the description below. Because during the registration, when you use the promo code BRAVO, you'll receive a huge starter pack including 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, 7 days of premium account time, and a ship. Next up for today, if you saw my last video, you know that AMD is having some major issues with their anti-lag plus feature. I'm talking some gamers were literally being banned because AMD's code was messing with things it really shouldn't. There were other issues like crashing, instability, and more. And this brings me to the story. In response to all of the complaints, AMD has apparently unlaunched their Anti-Lag Plus, as their latest driver, just 1 week after the last driver, completely disables Anti-Lag Plus. As you can see, AMD mentioned the feature being disabled on Twitter, and they're apparently working with game developers for a solution. Regardless, this was clearly a misstep for AMD, and I definitely suggest installing this updated driver so you don't inadvertently have the feature on. Hopefully AMD finds a fix soon, though it's likely a ground-up solution needed given there are tons of issues across multiple games. Next up, AMD is finally announcing their Ryzen Threadripper 7000 CPUs tomorrow. So by the time you watch this, it may have already been announced, but Video Cards was able to get some information early, starting with the fact that AMD is finally bringing back their non-pro Threadripper. That's right, AMD is back to releasing 2 versions of Threadripper, which means you won't have to pay extra for the pro version. Next, we have the actual packaging, where you can see the pro models come with a gray and white box, while the non-pro variants come in gray and orange. Not only that, but they were actually able to confirm on AMD's websites that these will come in 2 separate chipsets, with the WRX90 for workstations and the TRX50 for consumers. Not only that, but as you can see, they offer up to 12 chiplets for up to a whopping 96 cores, making this the highest core count consumer CPU ever. Like I said, the CPU should be announced tomorrow, but they apparently won't make it to market until next month. The real question, as always, will of course be price. But let's just say Intel has got to be pretty upset given their Sapphire Rapids chips almost certainly don't stand a chance. And lastly for today, Nvidia looks to actually be doing it. In a recent video, I discussed a rumor claiming that Nvidia could soon be releasing a 4080 Super. Now, he did put the possibility of a Ti in parentheses, and I basically assumed that there was no way Nvidia would bring back their Super cards. Then we saw some specs for a full new series of 40 GPUs, and even one of those had a Super variant. Well, according to a known leaker on Twitter who's been very accurate in the past, Nvidia is in fact going full on Super. According to the tweet, Nvidia isn't just planning a 4080 Super, but also a 4070 Ti Super, as well as a 4070 Super. And of course, that Ti Super is a bit odd given Nvidia has always separated those two. But of course, Nvidia already has a slew of Ti cards, so it's not too surprising that they're forced to bring Super back, as well as have it include a Ti Super card. Really, I like Super being used as more of a full refresh anyway, especially if the initial leaker was right, and the price for the 4080 Super will be right around the regular 4080, so it could ultimately be a decent upgrade for the same price. According to this leaker, the release date is to be determined, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were looking at early next year, maybe even at CES. Of course, that's just a guess, but either way, this could end up being a decent release. So while that does it for today, are you excited that Nvidia could be releasing Super cards? Let me know down in the comments below. And to captain your very own warship for free, download that in the description below. And as always, have a great day.